actually is live. Let's see here. Can I change this? All right, let's try this. So we'll talk this morning. It's early. It's like 7. I just woke up, so apologize. I don't have my makeup on. Still have some bags under my eyes. Still drinking my coffee. But there's been a lot of speak lately about bringer shows again. And if you don't know what a bringer show is, a bringer show is quite simply what it sounds like. It's a show where you bring your friends. Not a crazy concept, and it's a good thing. You know, as artists, people want their friends to support them. As business people, friends want their friends and families to support them. You know, my personal opinion is I've always noticed that, yes, it's nice to have your friends and family support you, but what if you're not really good at what it is you're trying to do yet? Which personally, for comedy, you know, I've been attempting to be an open mic comedian for 3 or 4 years, and I'm still nowhere near where I would suggest that any of my friends or family leave their homes on an evening and go spend money to watch me do it. Now, would I say that there are people around me and comedians around me, peers, that were well worth paying for? For sure. And definitely would suggest that people come out and see those comedians and would promote those comedians and all of those things. And these are people who've been doing it in some cases less time than I have, you know, and in some cases way more time than I have. Regardless, being is stand-up comedy, like a lot of arts, when you're seeing it done well, it can't be denied. And everything else, when there's debate about whether somebody's good or somebody's not or blah, 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 then probably not that great. You know, it's probably something that still needs to be worked on. So when it comes to bringer shows, you know, my thing is relatively simple. You know, if a bringer show is being promoted and, you know, you as a promoter are going to get paid some more money because you bring more people through the door, hey, that's a good thing. You're supporting comedy. You're bringing paying clients to the establishment that's choosing to support comedy with you, whether that be a bar or some non-traditional comedic venue, or you're bringing money into a comedy club, and you know, a club that traditionally does support comedy and comedians. So regardless, that's a good thing. Now, if it's one of these situations where you're given more stage time because of how many people you bring through the door, that's a recipe for disaster, in my opinion. And because here's the deal, you know, comedy, art, all of it is hard, you know, and you go up on stage and, for lack of a better description, you're presenting your baby to the world in the form of this art, you know, or whatever it is you're doing. And, you know, a lot of times people don't like your baby. You know, they think your baby's ugly, they laugh at your baby, or they don't laugh at your baby, or whatever case it may be. And that takes a toll on people. And the promoters and the businesses typically that push this model of, hey, the more tickets you sell, the more stage time we're going to give you, don't really care about the art. They care about the money, once again, which is fine. You know, that's their job as promoters. But let's be honest about what's going on. You're putting somebody on stage ahead of their time that they shouldn't really be on stage yet necessarily, and possibly making a negative situation for them. Not only them, but also the people who are coming out to see comedy that night and are spending their 5 or, you know, 2, 3, 4 hours and 50, 60, $100 to support comedy. They're getting a bad show because they're getting to see someone who doesn't have tight jokes on stage, who's kind of winging it, and in a collection of such people. So once again, not necessarily a bad thing to have bringer shows and for people to ask people to support their comedy or support their art or support whatever. But it gets, like I said, it gets very strange when you see comedians directly saying, "Hey, the more tickets I sell, the more stage time I get." Like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you should get stage time based on how much stage time you have. You know, as someone who's been dabbling in this for 4 to 5 years, yeah, I've been offered, minuscule amounts of money to do stand up, and I've turned them down pretty much every time because I know myself that maybe I have 5 minutes of what could be deemed good stage time. Yeah, sure, if the crowd's hot and I'm able to riff on the crowd, it could probably extend it longer. But the reality is that I know myself that, and I've met with other comedians that have, multiple comedians, not just one or two, but multiple comedians who have, do a show, and then they know they've got X amount of time, and now they're offered a show where they have to do more time, and they just commit to it. And that's like I said, it's not necessarily a bad thing, because a lot of times one of the good things that artists can do themselves that a lot of other people can't do is bounce back. Taking on larger challenges than they may be ready for is almost a superpower for some people, and it's something that they definitely can do well with. My fear is that there's a lot of great possible comedians out there who go along with this kind of concept of how comedy is supposed to work and get very disenfranchised and very disillusioned with how it actually works. So that's my few minutes on bringer shows, and they're very popular always. They've been popular in the comedy community for some time. And if you have any opinions, feel free to comment them. Talk about them in the comments, and let me know what you think. I imagine about 6 people will watch this, so if you're one of those 6 or 7, thank you for tuning in for a minute, and we'll see you next time.